Okay, so we are going to do a quick check in a second. So today we're going to be taking notes. We're going to be talking about volume of rectangular prisms. So yesterday we talked about area, and today we're going to talk about what volume is. Area is when we want to cover something. So for example, if we had a triangular shaped garden and we wanted to figure out how much dirt we would need to find the area of that. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about volume, and volume is with a three-dimensional figure and how much we can fill it up. All right. So what I want you to do is we're going to do a quick check-in real quick from yesterday. So what I want you to do is we're looking at this triangle. We're going to find the area of the triangle and justify our answer, the sentence stem. So the first question that I have is what is the formula that we use for a triangle? What's the formula that we use for a triangle? You guys can unmute yourself and say it since it's just you two. What is the formula that we use to find the area of a triangle? Isn't it for the, I don't, do you, yes, and we can find that on this star reference chart that you'll have when you if you take your test this year, and I'll also have it in your assignment. So all we have to do, we don't have to memorize anything. We just go here, we find area and triangle, and it's area equals 1/2 times base times height. And the cool thing is we said when we take half of the base, it's just that it's in like multiplying 1/2 times that base, we're just taking half of whatever that number is. All right, so good. So we'll come back to that. All right, so if I define the B, which represents the what does B represent? Gabriel, what's B represent? Gabriel, are you there? It's okay. Base. Okay, so if we're looking at this triangle, Gabriel, what is my base? What number can I put in there for my base? Yeah, where's my base on this triangle? Do you see my triangle right here? Oh, you don't? You don't? Oh, okay, hang on. Let me go back and let's try this. Can you see it now? Okay. All right, so Gabriel, what is my base? Very good. So if you notice right over here, I'm writing my equation, but instead of that B, I'm going to put 7. Okay, so then we have to find H, or height. Okay, so what is the height of my triangle? Very good. And there's two ways that we are able to find our height. The first one is we can look for this dotted line, and sometimes it's going to be inside of the triangle, and sometimes it may be on the outside. That dotted line is showing um, our, our lowest point to our highest point, and that gives us the height of it. We also can look for that square right there that represents a 90-degree angle or a right angle. Okay, so we have all of our information right here. So 1/2 times 7 times 2.9. So now all I have to do is multiply. All right, so this first one, we said yesterday that multiplying 1/2 times whatever number is here is like taking half of that. What is half of 7? Not 3/5. Yeah, yes, 3 and 3.5 or 3.5. Okay, and then we have to go ahead and we did this part right here. Now we have to multiply it by 2.9. Okay, what is 3.5 or 3.5 times 2.9? Type your answer in the chat when you're done. I want you to multiply that, but type your answer in the chat. Type your answer in the chat. Good, Rosendo. Eric, you need to type your answer in the chat, bud. Good, Gabriel. Okay. All right. So the other thing, so we should have gotten 10.15 or 10 and 1500ths. 10 and 1500ths. And that would be feet squared. Okay. All right. Let's go on to the next one. So what we're learning today. We are learning determining the volume of a rectangular prism by using the volume formula and the knowledge of length, height, and width of a rectangular prism. And then our language objective today is that I will write to explain the difference between perimeter area volume by using a sentence stem. So let's first talk about what volume is. Okay, so we talked yesterday about area. An area is if we were buying carpet for our house, or if we were putting dirt down in a garden, or if we were trying to find out how much grass we needed for our new yard. Okay, so that is talking about two-dimensional shapes. When we're talking about volume, we want to know how much volume describes how much an object can hold or we can fill up. Okay, so volume describes how much an object can hold, and we're talking about a three-dimensional. Now the cool thing is we are only learning volume of a rectangular prism. So when we do this, we need three things. We need the length, the width, and the height. Now, I'm going to show you something. And before, in 5th grade, when you found volume, you looked at it like area equals length times width times height. But when you look at the star chart now, it's going to say this: area equals an uppercase B. And remember yesterday I said, if we have an uppercase b, it means something totally different than a lowercase b, which means base. So you're going to see it like this. So before we go any further, I want to tell you that this big B right here represents the area of the base. Really, it's just taking length and width, putting it together, and putting a capital B. Because if we look right here, this is the length and the width. That is our base right here. Our base is just a rectangle, okay? And how do we find the area of a rectangle? We take the length times the width. So when you look at your star chart, you're going to see a big B. That is just a new way of saying length times width. But all we're doing is multiplying length, width, and height. It's just being represented as B, area of the base. Okay, so don't get scared. So volume is always measured in cubic units because we try to find out how many cubic units will fill up our rectangular prism. And it's because there are three faces. So you've got length, width, and height. Faces or sides, you could say. Sorry, my writing is not very good. I don't have my pen. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some examples of this. So on your assignment today, I did post your math chart right here, and I just kind of threw it up here so that you could see it. So if they're asking for the volume, you go here and look, rectangular prism, capital V volume equals, there's that big B, which just means length times width times height, okay? So I'm going to move this over here so that we can use it as needed. But I wanted you to be aware, I did put it on your assignment for today too. So the first thing that we're going to do is, what is the volume of a rectangular prism? I'm going to go ahead and write over here, volume equals big B times H. All right, so let's look at this. They didn't give us any measurements here, but they did give us cubes, so we can count the cubes. So what is my length going to be? What is my length going to be? Good, Rosendo, 4. So right here is my length, and if I count 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to put 4 times. Okay, what is my width? Because remember, this B is length times width combined, the area of the base. So I got to figure out my width. So what is my width going to be? What is my width going to be? Good, Gabriel. It's also going to be 4. So if I look here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So times 4. So there's our big B, length times width, or area of the base. We figured out the base part. Now I have to figure out my height, and we know height is how tall. So what's my height going to be of this? Good, 5. Perfect. So times 5. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. And then 16 times 5. I have to do a little work off to the side. It's hard to do without my pen. I've got 30. And then 5, 6, 7, 8. So 80. So it's going to be 80. And I am going to put a C for cube because that's what they're using, and we to the third power, because when we're talking about volume, it's to the third power because we're talking about cubic. How many cubic units are inside of that shape? Okay. All right. So what I want you to do, I've done one for you. I want you to do the next one. Okay. Try the next one. And when you get an answer, type it in the chat. So I want you to do the next one. What is the volume of the tissue box? They have given you the length, the width, and the height. So when you have an answer for the second one, type it. Can I zoom in on it? I can try. Let's see. There you go. When you have your answer, type it in the chat. You're welcome, Rosendo. When you have your answer, type it into the chat. So I need 3 answers before I can move on. Okay. Eric, I'm waiting on yours, kiddo. Eric, are you still there, buddy? Okay. Do you have an answer? Yes, the volume of the tissue box that's being shown. How do we find the volume of that, Eric? Okay. Did you do that? All right. All three of you got it correct. Awesome work. All right. Perfect. All right. So that's all I have for you guys today. It was a quick lesson, and you have 2 examples today as your assignment. You're finding the volume of the rectangular prisms. Okay. Are there any questions? Okay, I'm going to post this video and you can go back and watch it, Eric. I'm sorry? Yep, as soon as I get off and it loads, then I'm gonna post it. Okay? All right. It's okay. Oh, all right. Okay, well, that's all I have for you guys today. Any other questions I can answer before? You have a math test today? For your, yes, I gotcha. Yes, yes. Okay, cool. Yep, you only have 2 questions. All right, guys, I'm out. Oh, Rosendo, do you need something? What's up? Yes, I changed it and gave credit. You're good. Okay, perfect.